you have to truly step out on faith and step into your purpose. My name is Sierra Sharella and you are watching A Little Bit of C. I've been a full-time entrepreneur for a year actually this week, and I was actually gonna film this video like on the anniversary of me being an entrepreneur, but I honestly just really needed time to reflect on this is what you prayed for, this is what you wanted, how are you feeling? And that's something I had to literally ask myself, really just reflect on my time of being an entrepreneur. So I wrote down 8 things that helped me during this past year of me being an entrepreneur. And I hope these are some things that can help someone else in their journey, or if you're thinking about becoming a full-time entrepreneur, looking back on it now, what I would have done differently and I may have kept the same. So I got my little phone here. So during the past year of me being a full-time entrepreneur, and this is in no particular order, the first lesson is your faith has to be bigger than your fears. I never really understood that at first. I'm like, okay, faith over fear. But God really tests you in this season where you have to truly step out on faith and step into your purpose. Full transparency, I did have a couple opportunities where I probably could have worked full-time again, but I truly prayed on those opportunities and I really thought to myself, do I want to go back to working full-time right now? Do I want to continue to wait? Do I want to make it to a year and then just maybe go back to full-time? I really had to have a conversation with myself and think through what it is that I wanted. What does Sierra want in this season, and what is God doing in my life right now? So during that time, I really had to bigger faith in the season that God had me in, even though I was fearful of when is my next opportunity gonna come? Am I gonna be able to really handle an opportunity that comes my way? I had to shift my mindset in this season of entrepreneurship, especially in the beginning when there are a lot of uncertainties. So I would say, you know, if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur or you're in the early stages of being a full-time entrepreneur, it is super important for you to have a strong faith, because a lot of times we can talk ourselves out of things or we can go back to what is comfortable, but where you will find success is outside of your comfortability. The second thing that I learned, networking. Oh my God, networking is so important. To be honest with you, I am not big on networking. I never was. I never really knew how to do it. Like, how do you network? What is network? I think it's just the term networking that is scary, because all it really means is building relationships with people. And it doesn't have to be a long history of a relationship. It could just be someone knowing your name, you keeping in touch with them and just following up. It can just be very simple. It doesn't have to be something where you talk to this person or set a group of people all the time. It's just making sure your name is in rotation in conversations that they may be having. And networking is what helped me with so many opportunities that I had within my first year of entrepreneurship. If you've been following me, you know that I had an opportunity to work with an agency who wanted to outsource my services when they, you know, were taking on larger clients and they just needed a little bit more help. It still helped me build relationships and make connections with other people that I am now connected with and will keep my name in rotation for, you know, opportunities that may come up and vice versa. If you are new to entrepreneurship, definitely get comfortable with connecting with people. I will say definitely utilize tools such as LinkedIn. Definitely use social media as a way to connect with people, because I'm a little bit more on the shy side. I know y'all don't really see that over the camera, but you have to think it's just me and the camera. So when I'm talking and chit-chatting and stuff, it's nobody in the room with me. Maybe people around or whatever, but I'm literally talking to a camera. So I've become comfortable with that. But for those people who aren't necessarily comfortable with talking and stuff, use social media first. If you're comfortable with sending emails or notes and things like that, definitely utilize social media. I do that now. Still network and build connection with other content creators via TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, and all those other social media platforms, LinkedIn. You can still network and build connections virtually. It doesn't always have to be in person. The third lesson that I learned is have a routine. The first couple of months of me becoming a full-time entrepreneur, I didn't have a routine. It wasn't really, I'm gonna do this at 8, this at 10, this at 12. I just was kind of going with the flow a little bit. So something that I would do differently if I were to like start over being an entrepreneur, I would definitely have a routine set up in the beginning. Even if you are, you know, a couple of months into your journey as an entrepreneur, a content creator, definitely create a routine and get organized with what it is that you are doing on a day-to-day basis. Lesson number 4, entrepreneurship is not for the weak. Entrepreneurship is difficult. I know we get on social media and a lot of people only show the super positive sides or the more sunshine and rainbows. It is not for the weak. When you are working for yourself, you are doing things to try to set you up for success. There isn't always a safety net for you. When I prayed about it, I knew that it was difficult just because I already had a side hustle kind of going. Definitely make sure you set yourself up for success. If I were to go back and want to start this journey over again with being an entrepreneur, I would have definitely done more when it came to mindset, because it can be very discouraging. You do have your days where I don't know what to do next. I don't know when the next opportunity may come. What do I do now? And so it takes a very strong mind to be in the field of entrepreneurship, no matter what the industry is. You definitely have to, you know, have a mindset. But also in addition to that, being an entrepreneur, you still need a team. You still need a village. But for those of you who watch me, you know, every week, y'all know I always talk about my village and the people behind the scenes that really help me. I could not do half the things that I've done over this past year without my village, and that's why I love them down. Friends, family. I really love my people down because they have really lifted me up in the times where I can't even lift myself up. Being an entrepreneur, it does have its moments where you feel discouraged, but you have to have a strong mind and a strong faith when you're an entrepreneur, because you will have those moments and times where you're feeling like, I don't know about this, but you know that it's something that you want to do. So just keeping that in the back and the middle of your mind is very important. The 5th lesson is there are lessons in your losses. Let me say that again. There are lessons in your losses. You cannot tell me you will always win with entrepreneurship, because you will not. You will not always win. There will not always be wins. There will be losses. There will be times where things don't pan out the way that you may have wanted them to, or things may have gone in a different direction, but there are always lessons in those losses. With me documenting my journey, it allows me to be able to go back on certain experiences and times that I've had during this year, and I can see where the lesson was in that loss. There are lessons in the losses, right? But in the lessons, you will find a win. Definitely make sure you just take the time to reflect and journal on that and pray over it, and just ask God to guide you and help you figure out where the lesson is, so that you can figure out the win and what to do the next go round. The next lesson that I learned is never stop learning. You definitely want to make sure that you are always learning, growing, and perfecting the craft that you currently have, so that you can continue to elevate as an entrepreneur, because like I said, it doesn't just stop when you get to a certain level or you make a certain amount of money. It never stops. You always want to elevate and become better at being an entrepreneur. Another lesson that I learned over this past year of being an entrepreneur is be prepared for anything. Be prepared for anything. It's hard to prepare for something that you don't have no clue about. How am I supposed to prepare for this? But you have to always be perfecting your craft and growing and learning new skills. So with that, it does help you prepare for the unknown, and it does help you prepare for anything, because even if you are just a beginner at a certain skill or a certain craft, you still have something to kind of set you up for success, to continue to grow. Having an open mindset is also important, because entrepreneurship isn't always a straight and narrow road. Like, baby, is giving mountains. It's definitely giving curves, round, you know, it's not a straight and narrow path by any means, okay? But it is definitely rewarding. I do love being a full-time entrepreneur and being a full-time content creator right now because it brings me so much joy. I'm so passionate about creating content. Is it stressful some days and moments? Absolutely it is. But what job isn't stressful? What job doesn't bring you a little bit of anxiety? You know what I mean? It's a job. But that's why it's important to do things that you love, because then the pros outweigh the cons. And that happens, you can use that to continue to motivate you and push forward in your entrepreneurial journey. Definitely have a craft that you enjoy doing when you are entrepreneur, because that absolutely changes things for you. And lastly, as far as the lessons that I learned, pray about everything. I cannot stress enough how my prayer life changed when I became a full-time entrepreneur. I thought I had a good prayer life, but honey, when you become an entrepreneur and you don't know when your next opportunity gonna come in, and it's real uncertain out here in these streets, your prayer life will definitely change. You have to put in the work as well. You don't just pray about something and then leave it alone. You're praying about something, especially if you're asking God for something, and he ain't just gonna give it to you right away. You're gonna have to work. There are gonna be trials and tribulations along the way, but that's why there are trials and tribulations, because you have to work toward those things, because God just isn't gonna bless you with something that you're not prepared for, right? You gotta prepare yourself for that blessing, especially if it's something that you really want to do. In addition to that, not only praying about it, but have some different journals. I know for me, I have a prayer journal, I have a regular journal where I'm just writing things. I have a couple different journals. I don't just have one journal. It just allows me to see the growth, and it allows me to find the wins in those lessons throughout, you know, the months and this year. And just to wrap things up, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Not everyone is built to be an entrepreneur. So if it is something that you want to do and you do have the urge, I do feel like God probably lit a fire within you to want to do it, because that is a part of your purpose. But if you're not necessarily interested in being a full-time entrepreneur or a content creator or whatever the case may be, don't do it, because this is not a trend. Entrepreneurship is not a trend. This is a real life. Before you go quitting a job, definitely make sure it is something that you really want to do. I would suggest, if you have a full-time job, maybe starting a side hustle and seeing where that goes. If it's something that you like to do, if you have the bandwidth for it, you know, things like that, before you just completely step out there with no rhyme or reason or any plans to be able to do it. Because like I mentioned earlier, entrepreneurship is not for the weak, child. It can absolutely be real rough out here. But definitely make sure, if you have a particular craft, make sure that craft is not only profitable for you, but also make sure it is a passion of yours. So that wraps up today's episode of 8 Days of C. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you all learned a thing or two or several, honey, about this entrepreneur life, okay? Make sure you are following me on social media at Cierra Cherelle, CIERRACHERYELLE, baby, period. And if you are not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And yeah, y'all, make sure you come back tomorrow for another episode of 8 Days of C. I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.
I blow his mind every time I'm activated. You just trying to catch a vibe. CC got you fascinated. Jump up, bring a brand new ride. BMW riding, baby. I ain't gonna tell you lies. That's just how we roll.